At 5:30, the district's mission statement, our district will empower learning, energize achievement, and enhance community excellence without excuse. Are there any additional items for the agenda? If not, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make the motion to approve the agenda as presented.
That's Kelly Heitkamp. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Kendra. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries 6-0. Recognition of visitors and open forum. I don't believe we have anybody signed up to speak. So we'll move right into our student school board representative presentation. Or, well, I don't know if you have a presentation, but
Okay, well, we're starting in student council to do homecoming stuff. We just sent out the vote for homecoming court today. I think, like, we're still planning on having some kind of homecoming, like dress-up days and stuff like that. And then the homecoming game would be the 6th, which would be the last home game. And then, for, like, the student school board rep committee, me, Danny, and Mr. Stump are planning on doing this, like a Google form about just how, sending it out to the kids, and then it'll just be about how their experience has been here, and then, yeah, seeing what the results are.
To add to that, and Aaron, if you want, again, I'm assuming we're gonna adopt our strategic plan tonight, and one of the areas, or the goal areas, increase student, staff, and community connections as measured by a stakeholder survey. So, we might have different components for each group, but I think as we talk with our student reps and, the student-to-student connections and how people feel belonging here and, their sense of community and some different areas, I think it'd be good if we at least start that process and then communicate with our student councils and have them look at the form before we send it out, but at least get that process started. So I think we're excited. I think our 2 school board reps have been engaged in just wanting to make sure that this is a really good school culture that we have here.
how is school going with the hybrid?
I mean, I think it's fine. I basically have all PSEO anyways, so I
Okay.
would be home anyways, but for me, it's fine. It's been good going back and forth, and I really haven't had any problems with it.
Have you heard of any issues from other kids or anything?
I mean, no, not like teaching wise. It's just like the classic, I want to just fully be back in school, but it's, yeah, no, I haven't heard any like issues as far as that has been going.
That's good. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you. Good luck with all the homecoming activities and whatnot. 6B, Superintendent Report.
Got 5 quick things for you. First one, again, we continuously look at data and to make some decisions. And again, the data points that we're looking at is what's happening within our school building. And so as of today, you've likely seen a second email just about a confirmed case from a person within our building. So as of today, just have 2 positive cases and then somewhere less than 10 of people in quarantine. And so we continue to monitor that. The second data point that I look at is zip codes. And again, if you haven't followed that, this past Thursday is when they come out. We had 6 in the Janesville zip code, 0 in the Pemberton, and 0 in the Waldorf. And 6 is sort of where it's been at. The week before it was 10, which was the highest that it has since they started measuring that or reporting that. So we continue to monitor that. And then one of the third data points that I look at is the Waseca County gives us week by week what's happening. And it's better than the 14-day look back that MDE does, because that, again, is 3.5 weeks old. We'd want to use more data that's more relevant to us. And so, for October 4th through the 10th, we still saw, 20 cases of, I combine community and unknown together, because unknown just means they have to have more contact tracing to see where the spread was or how they got it. But we had 20 cases from October 4th to the 10th. The 27th of September to October 3rd, we had 10. So, and we seem to be around that 15 to 20 mark. So we're just constantly monitoring that data. And then again, we'll watch the 14-day case count, but that number was so elevated with the correctional facility, and it's 2.5 to 3.5 weeks old. So that's why we're not using that data, which aligns with the Safe Learning Plan. Is there any questions on the data? The other quick points I wanted to share with you, just to let you know that our staff is doing an amazing job with our preparedness plan and everything that we've asked them to do with cleaning desks and trying to maintain kids 6 feet apart, and all the other precautions with masks. But we thought, let's take a pause and see how well we're doing. So we sent out a staff survey last Monday or Tuesday, and then we did a learning, or I would say, basically a learning walk, and walked around our building while kids are here with somebody from Waseca County Public Health, myself, Sonia, and then Wendy, and just sort of evaluated how well we're implementing what we said we were going to implement. So we got some areas to grow in. We're going to work with our preparedness team tomorrow. We have a meeting and see what the next steps are. But our staff is doing a phenomenal job. Our kids are doing great, and there's still some things we can improve on. So looking forward to that. Third one is, if you haven't seen by now, that Governor Walz, when he first took over in office, he got a school finance committee group together, and now they're coming out with their proposal. So MSBA, the School Boards Association, did host a webinar last week, and if you don't have that link, I can share that with you. I've sat in on 2 of them because there's a lot that they recommend, and I think they're even seeing that they're trying to bite off a lot in the middle of a pandemic when the budget shortfall is likely going to happen, but they're still moving forward with their proposals. So I'll pass forward or answer any questions that you have, whether it be now or later. Fourth one is World's Best Workforce. That's usually our November work session. And with not having MCA data, they still haven't given us any guidance on what that report should look like. So we might not have a November work session. There wasn't a lot on the agenda last year, so I'll keep you posted about that. Also, in talking with Clinton from the city of Janesville, I think we're going to postpone the meeting scheduled at the end of November. They've got likely new student city council members and some changeover in things there. And when we'd rather meet in person altogether, and not sure that this is the right time for that. So that'll likely be postponed at the end of November. And the fifth one is, just found out this afternoon, again, the Department of Transportation meets with Tim Engel every year, looks over every bus, and in order to pass for a single bus, you have to receive, you can't have more than 25 points deducted. And he said, like, you get 2 points deducted if a seat wiggles and is loose. So all those things add up. And so for his entire fleet, he only had 10 points deducted, and the maximum was 25 per bus. So again, Palmer's just a great partner to work with, and Tim does a great job running transportation. So that is everything in my report, and I'll pause if you have any questions.
I don't have anything. Doesn't sound like anybody else does, so thank you for that. Appreciate it. 6C's, Curriculum Director Report.
As Claudia makes her way up, I did ask Claudia to come present because this was a fairly new position this year, and I am seeing huge benefits for our staff, for our students, and just as coming to a framework. So I'll let her share some of the work that she's been doing in collaboration with our principals and teachers, but it's just been great, and reserve some comments for the end. Thank you, Claudia.
Well, good evening. I'm Claudia Ressler, and thank you for inviting me in tonight to speak with you. It's nice to see everybody in person. I just put a piece of paper by you that has our curriculum update, and so you can feel free to take a look at that. So with this being a new position, there are just a few things here that I'd like to highlight that we're working to organize through this role. So the first high priority has been curriculum ordering, and with that, creating and organizing processes for that. So kind of sectioning out how we order, how we submit requests for curriculum writing, resources or workshops, and being able to filter that down into smaller areas to better track what we're spending our money on. And also technology tool requests, separating that out from curriculum itself so we can track that. So through that is the development of curriculum budgets, and then curriculum instructional materials inventory is another big one that Mr. Stump started last year and that we're continuing on this year. Just logging what we use for every subject and grade level for textbooks and technology, and creating a log of that and knowing what is it that's meaningful that we want to continue on with, and what is it that could maybe fall away and be replaced with other pieces. So that is the first big category. Next big piece for me this summer was safe learning and being part of the JWP preparedness team. Distance learning tools and support was a big piece for teachers. And for Mike and I a lot, working together, helping support teachers on how to work within the different learning models. So our focus really has been those best practices, that pedagogy, with the standards-based education mindset, along with technology integration. So, and to help broaden our scope of what we understand in those areas, it's been really meaningful to make connections and collaborate with other teachers and other leaders in southern Minnesota. So I've been doing a lot of work through the South Central Service Cooperative and other areas where I can connect with people. We're continuing on with coaching, and that's looking a little bit different due to COVID right now. But our big focus at elementary has been the standards-based report card rubrics. And we're launching our standards-based report cards end of Q1 in the elementary. And those rubrics are the companion that goes along with those report cards that explains the success criteria in every level for every standard. And so the teachers have been working super hard in developing those. With our high school, the focus has been unit guides, and really that whole idea of that backwards design, really designing our practices with the end in mind, being focused on those standard-based goals. And then the district learning tools and support, our distance learning tools and support, and staff websites. Those have been other areas that I've assisted teachers through coaching. So system organizations is also a huge piece. So that you can see there's different things listed there for how we're trying to organize and better kind of track what we're doing for our curriculum and instruction. So one example is organization of online curriculum support systems. So organizing what curriculums we use that have online components that students can have access to, and then purchasing ones that maybe don't have online textbooks, for example, so that students, distance learners, or when they're at home, they can access them. Anybody really, benefits everybody. And inventorying those. Also just little things like creating credentials logs, knowing how to log into systems, and passwords, how to roster students, all those types of things. Professional development's also been very big for us this fall. We did an elementary math expressions online component, high school great pedagogy for any learning model, elementary instructional practices. We developed a teaching and learning website, and this winter we'll have the new state science standards professional development pieces coming up for teachers. We also recently, Mike and I did a hybrid instruction, which was a self-paced professional development option on October 2nd for our teachers. So basically we're just working to address teaching and learning needs that would have been planned anyways, and also responding to those that have come up because of COVID. So all of those pieces are anchored in our curriculum design. We're doing everything with that backwards design mindset, designing with the end in mind. We're working to align assessments to standards, integrate technology through the Triple E framework, and again, those elementary standards-based report cards, which also anchor back to that backwards design piece. So more than ever, we're just working to clarify and communicate our learning goals, especially with the 3 different learning models. So, were there any questions that you had about this new role, or anything I can answer for you?
So we're focusing most of the standards-based grading on elementary. Is that what I'm kind of getting right now?
Right, so we have the standards-based education, and within that, we have standards-based learning, and then we have standards-based grading. And in the elementary, we're to the point where we're focusing on the grading part, so the report card and all that being aligned to the standards. In the high school, we're not focused right now currently so much on the grading, even though we have those practices that we're utilizing. But really focusing on the design, so that still all the units of instruction still anchored into those state standards.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'd be easier at the elementary level to implement that. That's why I was just curious where
Yeah.
we were at with the high school. Thanks.
So Claudia, the curriculum ordering and that, I know you're getting information from everyone, you're gathering the data, but you're the one, because in the past, it seemed like it would be some in the administration, some of the high school, some elementary, and then some you, but now with this new position, you are the one that kind of, so it all lines into student achievement, correct? You're the one ordering it?
That's right. Yeah, before it may have been the principals or tech director, or, superintendent. I mean, it was a variety of people depending on what it was. So now, even though it all kind of filters through this position, but still communicating where needed. So if we're ordering something for elementary, I'd communicate with Mr. Erler, but we would have a way to track it in one organized, consistent
Yep.
system.
Yeah. And then prior to this position, Kurt was saying he was the one kind of going to those curriculum conferences or whatever you might call them. And they were difficult to attend because of the, his position. And that, and due to COVID, are you able to attend? Are you doing more just video conferencing with those, or what's happening?
Right, which I'm actually finding to be a little more convenient
Yeah.
because it's easier to attend more things
Mhm.
since they have it online, and then you're able to connect with more people in different areas. So I kind of find that to be a benefit in this case.
Okay. Well, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
One comment, one question for you. So the comment is, I feel like Claudia's doing a lot of great foundational work. And so one there's a number of examples that she could give, but can you real quick speak to the music example and the music curriculum? Because I think that's a great shed light on what we didn't think about before.
Sure, yeah. So we have had a few different teachers in music over the past few years. And while I was looking through the different companies online, what products we had available, I was able to see that we had a kindergarten through third grade music program online. We didn't have the, physical text, but we had it all online there, and that had gone missed, probably just because of turnover. One teacher may have left, and then another teacher didn't know that piece. And so that was a huge asset, and I know Mrs. Nordstrom was super excited about that, and also a better use of our dollars if we're actually using the curriculum, so.
So that's just one of a concrete example of something that just gets lost because people leave or there's some turnover. And then can you real quick talk about the new awesome opportunity that you learned today for language arts that you're going to work with our teachers on and figure out?
Right, so with the high school, yes. So our curriculum that we currently have is expiring in January, which we knew about, but when I reached out to talk a little bit more about that with our rep from that company, found out that it's not just that we need to renew, it's that it's retired and that we'll need to be getting new curriculum. And so that's good to know because it is already October, and so we'd like to be able to find something that can seamlessly take over what we're currently using.
Which you summed it up perfectly in 20 seconds. I'm going to tell you it's not going to be that easy of a task. And for somebody just to say, I'm going to dedicate some time to it would be really tough, and it's going to be tough for Claudia, but we're in position actually, to work with our staff to look at textbooks and figure something out. And the new standards are getting rolled out. So I just find a huge value in not only the position, but what Claudia is doing for our students and staff, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, 6D, Student Success Committee Report.
So we met, what morning was that, Tuesday morning? Monday morning, okay, yeah, that's correct. So we met, video conference call, Google Meet, and through that, I don't know how many were on, to be honest, but there was community members, board members, staff and administration and students also. So a collaborative amount of people on this call. We went over the strategic plan for the most part. We kind of discussed in regards to the strategic plan. We've had quite a few meetings and whatnot that we think this is it's not think, we know this is the direction we want to go. It's easily understandable, and it's not multitask based on numbers and so forth and so on. So everybody thought that recommended to move forward with the strategic plan. We went through some interventions, talked about that. We talked about Fast Bridge. In years past, I know they've done Fast Bridge, but it seemed like as board members, and even what was in public, we went basically off of the MCA test scores. One date, one given time, one test, for a student that, you know, knows that this is not something that is being graded and whatnot. And so now they are moving more towards the Fast Bridge to be the guideline. That happens twice a year, correct? Three times a year, excuse me. It'll be the trigger points throughout the year for how our students are doing, collectively improving, or well, hopefully all improving throughout that. We had breakout sessions, which was nice to have to discuss, you know, our given groups that we've been meeting in person and with COVID. So we got to stay with those same groups. That went well. Other than that, it was probably about a 35, 40-minute meeting. Very productive, and that's about it. Any questions? Okay.
Anything to add, Katie? You were there
Yeah,
too,
I think
right?
Kelly covered it.
Okay, thank you. All right, E, budget enrollment.
Again, this is going to be on every meeting agenda, just to continuously update and let you know where we are in the process. Enrollment numbers, you can see those, which remain steady. And Star Tribune report and some other emails around superintendents, I think we're one of the fortunate districts that we didn't have a huge decline in our enrollment and actually stayed steady from where we were last year, which I don't think is the same across all districts. Fiscal year 21 budget update. Matt decided, and I sort of asked him to continue this. I felt this was extremely beneficial at the end of last year. Remember when we had COVID start, we wanted to figure out where we were in our budget. So he started including that report in the monthly board meetings. So you have that. I can answer any questions. And the third one is that we do plan at the beginning of November to have a first budget revision. We've had some different changes with CRF funding and with revenues coming in and some different expenses. So we just want to have a quick status report on where we are with our funds. So we'll probably have a finance committee meeting in the beginning of November and have a new proposed updated budget for you in November.
Okay.
I'll entertain any questions, but I think you have the information.
Okay. If not, we'll move on to approval of the consent agenda. As always, you can pull anything out. Are there any clarifying questions before we ask for a motion?
Would you mind, my computer guy, could you just click on the personnel staff changes, just to see? So we're just really basically looking at the coaches side of things, correct?
That is, yes, the majority of
Any other clarifying?
The one question I have, because I was gonna bring that up, is I saw girls and boys basketball for winter coaches. I didn't see anything for wrestling or any of the other winter activities. Is there a reason why they weren't included, just got missed, or?
I know we have a girls' basketball coaching position still posted. So I can explain that one. I'm not sure why the other ones, unless, Wendy, you have other information.
No, I didn't get anything from Ryan on wrestling.
Because, I mean, there's other winter activities too. I think speech would also be one that we have to hire, and so I'm just wondering, I saw
Yeah.
football and volleyball and all the basketball, so.
Yep. I will look into that.
So there is with COVID, there is a wrestling season. Isn't it? I mean, I guess I never, you always hear about basketball
Yes.
and,
As of now, yeah.
I mean, that's definitely a one-on-one,
Yep.
contest.
All right, any other questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve under a consent agenda as presented.
And that's Kelly Heitkamp. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Tim Burke. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0. Old business, approval of strategic plan. Do you want to discuss anything before we?
I just want to thank, we had a ton of input from our staff, from our community and from you, and from our students, so thank you. I think it's always good. I got to a point where I think people were just sick of hearing about it and just said, I thought this was approved before, so it's probably a good thing that people have heard about it enough and had the opportunity to give input. But I'm excited. I know we've had some of these things that have started, some actual action steps that have started, so just excited to continue working on it. And again, my goal is to provide you at least quarterly updates on where we are in each area. Maybe it'll just be the action step. For sure, the goal is going to be yearly reported out, but just to make sure that I have accountability to you that we're implementing what we said we're going to. But I'm excited.
So will it be each item, or are you just pulling out pieces of it?
I'll probably
as
pull out
you-
pieces and make sure we highlight each area of our 4.
Okay, because I know some of them are due for a
Yep.
while yet, so. And then are we going to be tying everything back to our agenda? Tying the strategic, like our agenda items to our strategic plan?
Yeah,
And
Laura,
noting that.
we've discussed a little bit about having possibly a supportive environment category on our board agenda or empower all board agenda. So we'll have to continue those discussions to see if that's going to work, but open to it.
I'd have to say, Kurt, when did we meet, being on the strategic plan with, what was it, the Big River Group? What was that called? The Big River?
I think so.
Back in January, and, you know, if it was, and I'm not fashion, but if it was up to that gentleman, I think we would have been done. You know, you move it over to you, and you realize that there was more information that needed to be gathered from the community, from the staff, from the board. And you put a lot, you and the administration, but especially you, have put a lot of thought to put this strategic plan together. And you went above and beyond what we did that one particular night that just seemed to be thrown together, and you've actually separated it and whatnot. So if your superintendent position doesn't, pan out for you, I think you could do a strategic plan consulting firm, if you just an FYI for you on that, so.
Don't give them any ideas.
Well, I think your superintendent position's that's doing quite well for you also. so.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for all the work that you put into that. And part of that is the promise statement, correct? So we'll start using that after tonight then?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions before we move to approve it? All right, do we have a motion to approve the strategic plan as is?
Make a motion to approve the strategic plan as presented.
That's Kelly Heitkamp. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Tim Burke. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0. Approval of the third reading of policies with substantial changes. 522 Title 9-6, non-discrimination policy, grievance procedures and process. So this one we actually approve, right? So do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the policy with substantial changes.
That's Kelly Heitkamp. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Tim Berg. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0. New business, first reading of policies with substantial changes. So no motion on this, just any comments or,
I do have one comment. Want to thank Katie. There was an error in one of the policies, so she was pretty thorough about making sure she reads all of them. So I appreciate that. And but otherwise, yeah, this is just the first reading.
I did have some questions on them, just, so the 419 policy, it says that the institution, or institute a vaping prevention program at least once in grades 6 through 8. Is that once a year, or is that once in their whole?
It was my understanding it's once in that grade band of health.
Okay. Oh, so like we would pick a year and just that year would,
Yeah.
like 7th
Although
grade
we
or
have now
8th grade.
implemented health in 7th and 8th grade, so.
So you could do
So
it
it'll be
in,
easier.
okay, okay. So it should hit all of them. What happens if we get somebody new that hasn't been through, how do we ensure that they get that program?
Are you talking to a new student?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just pick
After,
up.
like, let's say we do it in 7th grade
Yeah.
and they don't have that program. I don't know if there's a way to track or anything.
There is not.
Okay. And then the next policy, the student medication, do we have a form that parents complete for that? The controlled substance? Or is that just,
I'm sure there is, because I know Sonia's really strict about that at Trinity. So
okay.
I'm sure there is a form that they have to fill out.
It seemed like it was up to the parents to notify us, but it'd be hard for the parents to know what to notify. So I was hoping there was some kind of form or something that they would,
I can,
There is forms.
Yeah, I believe there is.
okay.
Even for Tylenol and whatnot, there was a form that you had to fill out.
and I did have Sonia look this over again, and she said, yep, we're
Okay.
following this, so.
Good. And it looks like 601 is just adding the screening for dyslexia. That was the major change. And 607, that's new now that we can ask for documentation on the age of kids coming in, like preschool.
Yes, that comes right from MSBA, so yes.
Just notifying or announcing the major changes so everybody is aware of what those are with those policies. Perfect. B, approve post-secondary enrollment contract with Riverland Community College. Do you have any updates or comments before we?
I don't, I sent you some information before, so I can answer any questions, or I can give a short summary, but otherwise.
So this is basically so we do not lose funding, correct? For our students that happen to take PSEO classes at Riverland Community College, correct?
Yeah, we're still gonna lose funding, but we
Yeah.
might not lose as much.
much.
And we might be able to recapture some of the funds that the state gives to school districts, so yes.
Did we not do this? I know you're saying it hasn't been approved, but didn't we, as a board prior to Kurt coming on, did we not approve this so we did not lose some of our state funding? Does anybody remember that?
I don't remember specifically Riverland Community College, but I don't know if we, but you said we don't have this with any college,
Yeah.
right?
I could have swore. Anyway, I guess it needs to be done, right? Correct? I mean, we don't want to lose funding. Yeah, I think these PSEO classes are beneficial. My daughter is one of them, going through Riverland and University of Minnesota and whatnot, and it's beneficial for the students and whatnot, and for the families. And of course, as a school district, you certainly don't want to lose all the funding, even though it's benefiting the students so much. So, yeah.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the post-secondary enrollment contract with Riverland Community College?
I'll
Make
make a
a-
motion to approve the post-secondary enrollment contract with Riverland Community College.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Kendra. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0. C, Truth in Taxation, will take place on December 7th at 6:01 PM here in the Media Center. Anything else we need to discuss with that?
I think this is just part of our official notice, and this is just, again, to clarify, because we had a time change. Remember, we voted last January to change the time of the board meeting, and we had this change, so this is just clarifying it, and it's on record, both in the board meeting and with the state of what our time is for this meeting.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, if not, D, the canvassing meeting. Wendy.
Yes, so this year with COVID and election results, the state is allowing 7 days for counting mail-in ballots after Election Day. So the counties will not have results for us until, or they won't have their counts finished until November 10th. November 11th is Veterans Day. And so the earliest we can get any results is November 12th. And I've been in touch with the county auditors, and they are saying late November 12th is when we will have our school board election results. So just be a best practice or in good interest to have our canvassing meeting on the 13th. I know it's so late, but that is the latest we can do it. And so we're kind of looking at the afternoon of the 13th to make sure we have all our information from all 3 counties that we would get results from.
Okay. Any
Is-
question?
Isn't there a calendar invite for 7:30 that day?
It
Oh,
was
it's on
just a
the 12th.
placeholder.
Oh.
I think we were just gonna discuss with you if we can make a 4 o'clock meeting work that day, or 3:30, or whatever works out best for
What day is
this
that?
board.
It's a
Friday.
Friday.
I think it's fine by me. but-
I think it should work for me. We would need a quorum, right? So,
Do you wanna say 4, or do you wanna go 3:30, or what time would you like?
Doesn't matter to me.
we have enough that can make it that day? I know I can, so,
Yep.
okay. Yeah, I think 4 is probably fine.
Okay, great.
If it works for you guys, yeah.
Yep.
All right. 10, approve resolution accepting donations. We have a donation from the Janesville Rotary for $1,085.06 for football storage racks. So, want to thank them for their donation. And do we have a motion to approve that resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution accepting donations with many thanks.
That's Tim
Wait,
Burke.
wait.
Do we have a second? Don't we do a motion
You're
in a
right.
second?
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
And then go
And then
through?
roll call.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Kendra, okay. And then Wendy?
Size,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Heitkamp,
Yep.
Cahill. Yes. Elke.
Yep.
All right, approved 6-0. Upcoming meetings, November 2nd, the study session, followed by World's Best Workforce Meeting. That's to be determined. And then November 13th, special meeting canvassing the returns of votes. That's the 4 o'clock meeting that we just discussed. Then November 16th is our regular meeting. And we are adjourned at 6:09 PM.
Thanks, Laura.